Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. So, have you ever wondered why some people can look at a massive, seemingly impossible challenge and just see this incredible opportunity, while others absolutely panic at the slightest hint of failure? Or why some folks continuously grow and evolve throughout their lives, while others just kind of plateau and get stuck? Well, the answer doesn't lie in luck, and it definitely doesn't lie in genetics. According to the truly groundbreaking research by psychologist Carol Dweck in her book Mindset, the answer lies entirely in how we think. And look, this isn't just some fluffy motivational theory. This is hard, scientifically backed research that proves the direction of our thoughts literally dictates the entire direction of our lives.
I want you to think about your own life for just a second here. Have you ever quit a hobby, dropped a really difficult subject in school, or maybe backed away from a major career move simply because you thought, you know what, I'm just not naturally gifted at this? Our society constantly pushes this myth that raw talent and innate intelligence are the absolute keys to success. But think about it. If that were really true, wouldn't every single talented person on Earth be incredibly successful? We all know that's just not the reality. The truth is, it's not your raw talent that determines how far you go in life. It's your mindset.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, the two mindsets explained. Second, the truth about talent. Third, mindsets in real life. Fourth, where do mindsets originate? And fifth, how to change your mindset.
Let's dive right into Section 1, the two mindsets explained.
Basically, human psychology divides into two main camps. On one side, we have the fixed mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe that their capabilities, their intelligence, and their talents are just set in stone from birth. Because they think they can't change, they treat failure as a permanent identity stamp. If they fail, it means they are a failure. So naturally, they avoid challenges and run away from criticism. But on the other side, we have the growth mindset. These individuals believe that their abilities can continuously develop through effort, good strategies, and input from others. They don't see failure as a permanent brand, they see it as just a totally necessary part of the learning process. Imagine if Thomas Edison or Albert Einstein had a fixed mindset and believed their abilities were limited from birth. There's no way they would have achieved greatness. They embraced the growth mindset.
Moving right along to Section 2, the truth about talent.
To really dismantle this whole myth of innate talent, Dweck and her team conducted a truly fascinating experiment with two groups of kids. The first group was praised specifically for their intelligence. They were told, "Wow, you got a good score. You must be really smart." The second group, however, was praised for their effort. They were told, "You got a good score. You must have worked really hard." Later on, both groups were given a much more difficult puzzle. And the results? Honestly staggering. The kids praised for being smart quickly gave up. They were terrified that failing would ruin their smart label. They were literally just trying to protect their egos. But the kids praised for being hardworking. They didn't just keep trying. They actually enjoyed the challenge. When we tie our identity to innate talent, we become terrified of failing. But when we tie it to effort and the learning process, we become unstoppable.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is that tremendous effort and adaptability will always trump innate talent. I mean, just look at Michael Jordan. People often look at him and assume he was just born a basketball deity. But the reality? He was famously cut from his high school basketball team because he simply wasn't good enough at the time. If he had a fixed mindset, that massive blow to his ego would have been the end of his career right then and there. He would have decided he just didn't have the natural gift. Instead, he utilized a phenomenal growth mindset, spent thousands of hours practicing, and transformed his weaknesses into legendary strengths.
All right, Section 3, mindsets in real life.
How does this play out in the business world? Well, a leader with a fixed mindset believes they are basically omnipotent. They think they already know everything, so they actively reject criticism, they fear change, and they hide their mistakes just to maintain this illusion of perfection. A growth mindset leader, however, knows they aren't perfect. They value their team's feedback, learn from mistakes, and are always looking for ways to improve. Take Steve Jobs as a prime example. When he was first fired from Apple, he could have let a fixed mindset convince him he was a total failure. Instead, he looked at it as a huge opportunity. He learned, he adapted his leadership style, and he returned to Apple to become one of the most visionary and effective leaders in modern history.
And hey, this isn't just about work. This framework deeply impacts our personal lives too, specifically in our relationships. People with a fixed mindset often buy into the fairy tale that true love is supposed to be completely effortless. So the minute a serious conflict arises, they panic. They assume the relationship is fundamentally broken and just doomed. But those with a growth mindset? They understand that any strong relationship takes serious work. They don't see an argument as a deal breaker. They see it as an amazing, vital opportunity to communicate, to understand their partner better, and to forge a much, much deeper connection.
Which brings us to Section 4. Where do mindsets originate?
So, if the fixed mindset is really that limiting, why on earth do so many of us have it? Well, the truth is our mindsets aren't random. We aren't born with a fixed way of thinking. As children, we're essentially blank slates, and our mindsets are deeply programmed by the subtle, often well-meaning messages we receive from our earliest influencers. When a parent calls a child a natural genius, it sounds like a great compliment, right? But it secretly instills a fixed mindset, making the child terrified to ever look ungenius-like later on. When a teacher assumes certain kids just can't do math, they strip away that child's confidence to even try. And when a coach focuses exclusively on the final score rather than the effort and improvement of the athletes, they teach players that losing makes them losers rather than learners.
Finally, Section 5. How to change your mindset. Okay, we are grounding this completely in hard science. Ever heard of neuroplasticity? It is the brain's proven physical ability to form brand new neural connections when we practice and learn new things. Your brain is not fixed. It is literally malleable. When you boldly embrace a new challenge and you struggle through it, your brain is physically reshaping itself, making you smarter and more capable over time. It's like a muscle.
To kick off this rewiring process, you've got to tune into your own internal monologue. We all have that fixed voice inside our heads. It's the voice that whispers, "What if you fail? People will judge you. If you aren't an expert right away, you're gonna look foolish." The key here is to consciously externalize that voice, hear it for exactly what it is, and actively counter it with the growth's voice. When the fixed voice says you can't do it, your growth voice needs to step in with confidence and say, "Hey, if I fail, it's not the end of the world. I'll just learn something new and try again."
Here's the exact playbook. Step 1. Recognize your fixed mindset voice when it flares up, which is usually right when you face a challenge. Step 2. Actively challenge it with the growth voice. Literally talk back to yourself. Step 3. Take consistent action. Cognitive behavioral change requires immense patience and consistency. You can't just think differently, you have to act differently. And Step 4. Surround yourself with growth-oriented people. If you hang around folks who are terrified of failure, you will be too. Find people who celebrate effort and learning.
If you take anything away from today's explainer, please let it be this. No matter your age, your background, or your past failures, you are not permanently locked into your early limitations. Your mindset is entirely flexible. You are capable of far, far more than you currently think, simply by shifting the lens through which you view your own potential.
I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. Your brain is ready to grow. The science is crystal clear, and the choice is entirely yours. So the next time you face a massive challenge or a really painful setback, which mindset will you choose? Will you let the fixed mindset hold you back, or will you use the growth mindset to propel yourself forward? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll catch you next time.